2 years ago, I lost $90,000. And in fact, it was actually stolen from me by someone I trusted, someone close to me, someone that was on my team. But I kept working, and 3 weeks later, I made $240,000, or I should say we made $240,000. Me and the team that we built the project with. However, I have made a video on this before, but I haven't told you exactly what I learned. And last week I wrote a newsletter, and I just shared, in fact it was this week, and I really thought deeply about what did I learn from that experience, and I came up with 8 core lessons. So if you watch till the end, I'm gonna share those 8 lessons with you today. $90,000 worth of lessons, life lessons, you're gonna get for free, and yeah, in about 10 minutes. So I've actually, you might see this in my hand. This is like, because I'm filming this on my iPhone, I just write down what I'm going to talk about, just so I remember the lessons, because sometimes I can ramble. So I wanted to make sure that I had everything ready to rock and roll. So I'll quickly tell you the story. I'll just quickly summarize it, because I know that you've probably heard it before, and if you haven't, this is what happened. So 2 years ago, I was working as a gardener with me and my business partner. We were roomies as well, and we had a great summer gardening, made a lot of money, and the season was in the summer, so everyone needed gardening work done. So business was booming, and then as soon as the weather started turning, because in the UK, as soon as you hit like September, and definitely when you hit October, it gets it gets pretty cold in October, and by November things are icing over, and it's freezing. Nothing grows, so there's no point, you don't need any gardening work done. No one goes outside, and nothing grows, so gardening just becomes redundant. So all of a sudden the work started drying up, the cash started drying up, and only being entrepreneurs for, not very long, we didn't really have a contingency plan for when the season changed. So what did we do? Well, we heard a rumour / story that was true, turned out to be true, and this was wild. Like this was a pretty key turning point in my life in terms of understanding what's possible. But there was a group of kids, or group of lads in the year below us at school, who apparently had made $500,000 in a matter of weeks. So hearing that, I was very intrigued. Like, how did they do this? Like, if they could do it, we could do it too. And it turned out they were in the crypto market selling NFTs. They built their own project. Now, an NFT, I don't want to go into too much detail here because this story has layers, but all you need to know is that an NFT is like a crypto token, and it comes in the form of like a piece of artwork. So it's like digital artwork. It's like a digital product, digital token that in many cases has like a use case. So it could be membership to a group, it could be by owning it you get paid like dividends out, like you can make money just for owning it. It's got all these different use cases, but basically that's all you need to know about NFTs. The main thing you need to know is that at the time when we heard about this, these NFTs were, everyone was going crazy for them. They were like crack cocaine for these crypto market diehards, the consumers in the market. They because it's aligned with investment. It's kind of aligned with the investment market, but way more degenerate. So people were throwing a lot more cash at stocks, at cryptos and NFTs, and it was just wild. Like, it was wild. It was completely unregulated. People were making millions of dollars in like a matter of days, and we decided, heck, like, we're going to give it a go. So we spent 5 months building this project out. We've moved the deadline back for a little bit as well. We were just anxious to make it work. I would say that turned out to be a good choice because we got more hype and more buzz. And anyway, we built these NFTs. We created a concept which was basically Teletubbies on crack, Teletubbies on bath salts. And it was completely different, like nothing the space had seen before. Pretty hilarious as well, a pretty funny concept. And we basically built a community, and my job was really to build the community. I was really in charge of marketing and I guess sales, social media, community building, just building hype, building the brand, getting people interested, getting people into the community, getting people in a buying mood in the community, really building like essentially a cult, which I will talk about today briefly. Because essentially what these communities are, the best communities, not necessarily the best, but communities, the strongest communities are usually very cult-like, or they have cult-like elements. So we built a cult, and I was in charge. I was like the cult leader to some extent. And to be honest, I think one of our failures, the reason why, we made 240k, but we could have made a lot more. And I remember suggesting, basically, like, there was a bit of a confusion amongst our community, like who was the supreme leader. And I suggested to the boys, like, I think all the best projects, like, we need like a one person to be like the cult leader. And there was kind of like this, don't really want that, because ultimately what happens then is it becomes a status game. And although it would have probably made us more money and made our project more successful, it's probably a good thing we didn't do it, because because that would have been me, like, rising as some kind of crazy cult leader. And it meant that it would have been way more, like, if anything went wrong, it would have been on my head. So I'm actually grateful we didn't do that. But if I could have gone back in time and I was in a YOLO mood, I would have insisted, like, guys, we need to push someone forward as the face of this. But anyway, it was still a cult. And we oh god, we got robbed. So we spent 5 months launching, like, building the project. Eventually we launched it, and we made over 100k in the first 12 hours, which was crazy. We were up till like 5 a.m. Working on it, because all our market was in the US, so we were like chatting with everyone. And then the next day, we still had a way to go. We still had quite a few NFTs to sell out, but we were moving fast. We were on track to make a lot of money very fast, and we'd already made like this 100k, so things were good. But then, this was pretty crazy. So about 14 hours later, hadn't really slept much. We were meant to be doing a Twitter space, or like a live interview, a live call with a project that had made, like, I don't even know how many millions, that we were kind of aligned with. There were people in our community who were in their community. They were endorsing us, and it was just a great partnership to be had. And we were going to go on a call with them, which really would have given us a boost. But about an hour before the call, get a message in the group saying, is there any reason why 875 Solana, which is $90,000 approximately, has been moved out of the treasury wallet? and we looked at each other. It was me and a couple of my buddies that I built the project with. There was 5 of us in total on the team. I think there was actually 6, with different levels of stake, different stakes. Anyway, I looked at 2 of my buddies who we were building this with, and we were just confused. Like, have you moved the money? No. Have you moved the money? No. And then we realised none of us even had access. So we went and asked the developer, and he was like, oh, someone must have hacked into the wallet, gave us this absolute bullshit spiel. And we fell for it. Like, we believed that it was, we believed it was true. But ashamed and embarrassed, we had to tell the community. So we told the community, and I mean, they turned on us. They just said, this isn't. You haven't been hacked. You've rugged. You've taken the money. And I was there as like the kind of like voice of the community. I had to communicate this. I had to break the news, and yeah, it was like a civil war broke out. It got bloody. I'd say about 25% of the people in there just turned and got nasty and started accusing us and whatnot. And to some extent, they were right, but it wasn't our fault. It wasn't mine and my 2 buddies' fault who'd been building the whole thing, who'd been marketing the whole thing, who'd been putting in all the effort. Who really were seen as the project leaders. Yeah, it got nasty. It turned. Anyway, our reputation was in tatters. We had to cancel that call with that project that would have brought us in a lot of sales and reputation, but we had to cancel it. Anyway, we were kind of left at this crisis point. Like, from the outside looking in, we were just, no one wanted to touch us with a barge pole. But from the inside, like, this civil war had actually made the community stronger than ever. And I'm going to talk a bit about that in just a sec. And we kept at it. We kept going. And yeah, 3 weeks later, the community were built. They bought everything. The remaining 2,000 units. And we ended up making 240k in 3 weeks. So it was like, whoa, like, we've just been robbed 90k by someone that was on the inside, and we decided just to keep going. Now we've made 240k. Wild. It didn't end how you would have hoped. Never exactly paid. I say never exactly. Never took profit from the project. Just reinvested every last cent and tried to make it work. And then the market crashed, and yeah, we were left with nothing. I actually went a little bit into debt, to be honest with you. Paid back people that had invested in us, in the project, but and then anything money that we put in originally, which was like 2.5k each, I think. We paid ourselves back that, but we never took profit. Yeah, I was worse off after that venture. Financially worse off, but mentally worse off, like battered and bruised, but also had learned very important lessons, which I'm about to share with you now. So, what did I learn? What are the 8 biggest lessons I learned from being robbed $90,000 and then making 240k 3 weeks later? Well, I'm going to focus on what I learned from being robbed that much money, because that definitely had a bigger impact than making the money, which I think the lessons are more valuable, and they will probably help me make more money than the lessons I learned from making the money, if that makes sense. So here they are. So lesson number 1, most people are dishonest. Yeah, this one really sucked, learning this, because just because you believe that, just because honesty is important to you and you like to live your life honestly, doesn't mean that other people feel the same. It doesn't mean that other people will behave the same way. I'd say like there's probably like 10% of people are genuinely honest all the time. It's probably less. So if you play those odds, like 90% of people are just generally dishonest. Fake people are dishonest. People will tell you one thing and then do another, and people are dishonest with themselves. Honesty is a really incredible trait that not many people have, if I'm honest. To be honest with you, and again, I've used the word honest like 3 times then. So realize this: most people are dishonest, and don't expect them to be honest. Always expect them to be dishonest, and if they're honest, that's a bonus. And this can protect you against being deceived, because if you're expecting people to deceive you in a let me put it this way. People are just dishonest, right? It's basically a fact. There's no point getting upset about it, because would you get upset because the sky is blue? No, you wouldn't. So don't be upset that people are dishonest, and literally I mean everyone, and just forgive them for it right off the rip. If you accept that and forgive them for it right off the rip, you'll be a lot harder to fool. Lesson number 2: traitors always start out as friends. Yeah, this one it's obvious, right? But this one sucks when you really internalize that lesson. Traitors always start out as friends. That means, traitors by their very nature are someone that's close to you, someone that you trust. And you don't have to look very far in stories. Judas Iscariot was one of Jesus' 12 disciples. Lancelot, who ended up screwing King Arthur's missus, was like his lieutenant general, like his like right-hand man. And then Fredo Corleone in The Godfather, Michael's brother, when he turned to the other side, his own flesh and blood. So realize that anyone can turn. And the higher the stakes, the more likely people are to turn. So again, this sucks. Just realize that you are the only person you can trust. Blood, oh God. I've seen my family be torn apart. Not immediate family, more like just broader family, by dishonesty and lack of communication. And yeah, like I've seen how bloody it can get. So you are the only person you can trust, and look after yourself and treat yourself with respect, and be aware of how people act, and yeah, it's the only way to stop yourself getting betrayed, is to always trust yourself, and that's it. I know people are going to hate that, but it's just true. Like when the stakes get higher, if it's low stakes and you're already broke and poor, like there's nothing going on in your life, by all means. But like as soon as there's money on the table, shit gets nasty, very, very nasty. Lesson number 3: whoever holds the purse strings holds the power, or is the master. Now, yeah, once you realize this, everything makes sense. Why can a 65-year-old 0.1 out of 10 get Miss Universe or Miss Alabama or Miss England as their girlfriend, fiance, whatever? It's because great power resides with those who hold the money. And power is, I don't think it's everything, but it's a great factor in getting your way in life, and getting a lot of good things, getting a lot of bad things as well. But if you want the finer things in life, if you want the attractive mates, if you want and by the way, I don't think it's advantageous I think it's more advantageous for men to have power than women. I think like women with loads of power, I mean, I think that's great, but I don't think you become very attractive, whereas a man with loads of power is more attractive, as we can see by the old rich men who, with their young girlfriends, young attractive girlfriends. So this clearly is just a thing. But I learned this the hard way in business. We thought we were in control, and actually we were just pawns in the game, and the person that held the purse strings was using us the whole time. So we should have kept our eye on the bag. So if you want to be in charge of your own life, if you want to avoid being betrayed and you want to be in control, make sure you're holding the purse strings, or at least you have decision-making power over the bag, and you have access, primary access, I guess master access to the bag, and by the bag I mean the funds. Number 4, creativity can make you rich. Now, can is the key word there because there's so many starving artists, but Dan Coe said this the other week, I really loved it. It was something along the lines of, hard work won't make you rich, creative work will make you rich, and couldn't agree more. Creative work is, advertising is creative work. The NFT project that we launched was creative work. Writing is creative work. Sales to some extent is creative work. Salesmanship is for certain. So creativity, we created that $240,000. How? Well, we created a brand, we created a community, we created demand, we created artwork, we created a product, we created everything out of thin air. And that's the fact. Like, creativity is just a series of experiments, and you have to have big balls. You have to have, you have to embrace your weirdness. You have to accept potential failure in order for creativity to really do its thing. It's just a series of experiments, but once you get the experiment right, you strike gold. So that's what happens with us. Lesson 5. Naivety can get you killed, or naivety will get you killed. Now, okay. The best thing about being betrayed in business is that you don't actually die. But let's say the stakes were higher. You know, our ancestors lived in the savannah, in the wild. Let's say they were out on like a hunt, and they trust the wrong person, and all of a sudden they've got a knife or a spear in their back, and then their friend or the person they trusted is running off with the kill. Another example would be, let's say you were in a forest with a total stranger, and you had $1 million briefcase. And it was just you and them in the middle of the forest, no one around. And you turn around, and all of a sudden there's a knife in your back. Like, would you really be surprised? And I guess the obvious answer is no, you wouldn't be surprised. So don't be naive. Like, realize what humans are like. And even if someone appears to be like super, super nice, friendly, trustworthy, like, you can play that, you can enjoy that nice character, and mirror them, but always have in the back of your mind, like, this person's a person just like anyone else, and if I'm playing the law of averages, chances are that they're dishonest, or they're in it for themselves. So I will assume that I should not turn my back for one moment. But if they're nice, cool, like, I'll play along, and it's nice to be nice, it's nice to enjoy people with good social skills, but just realize, like, once the stakes are that high, don't be naive, because you can end up with a knife in your back. Lesson number 6, one starving crowd can feed you for life. Now, the best thing you can do as a marketer or creator or whatever, we're in the creator economy. I say we're. If you're watching this, you're probably a creator or a business owner or a coach. But realize, like, the most important thing with making money is finding a starving crowd. So in every market, there's a portion of the market who are, like, desperate for what you want, and they love consuming it. Like, I'm a massive consumer of information products. That's like my crack cocaine. It's very easy for people to sell me that because I love learning and developing. But, in the crypto market, which we were in, everyone wants to make money. Like, everyone wants to make money. Everyone wants, you can pretty much put anything in front of them and they'll buy it. So you need to find that crowd that are starving, because they're the people that will buy everything from you. And when you find that, starving crowd, it's not hard to sell things at all. Like, it's actually very easy. So find the starving crowd that can feed you until the market collapses, basically. Like, can feed you for life. Like with us, we found a hungry crypto crowd, lonely people as well, lonely crypto traders who wanted to make money, but also wanted somewhere to call home within that market. And we provided that, and then pretty much like it was just easy to sell. So figure out who the starving crowd is and how you can sell to them. Lesson number 7. Cults are money pits until they're not. Now, we built a very, very, we built a cult. Like the business model was a cult. So we had a hierarchy, and we had like this whole ranking system. And what happened is people stopped caring as much about money, and they started caring a lot more about relationships. And what happened is that the value of money in the cult was like worthless. Like price resistance just diminished. Like people were just like, oh screw it, I'll just buy another one. It was like being at a Chuck E. Cheese or an arcade or like a fairground. Like money just became like tokens to use in the cult. So that's why it becomes a money pit. People just throw all their money at it and almost like make offers and sacrifices in the form of money. Pretty much just they feed the cult indefinitely. And that's why cults are money pits. That's why if you're building a community, definitely study cults, because you can learn a lot from them. But what happens is when you play with the crowd, you play with fire. So when things go south, like it's all on you. Like things can go sour very, very quick. Things can turn nasty. And yeah, things definitely nearly got nasty for us. Luckily we got out before, we got crucified. And I say luckily we got out. It became unprofitable and it stopped. I got myself and 2 of the other founders were getting ourselves into a tough financial situation, just trying to keep it going. But if we had have kept it going, eventually, if the more culty it got, like the more risky it would have been shutting it down and people realizing basically what was going on, which is we're just paying for this project to keep going, which is like kind of our coffers are filling your pockets. Unfortunately for us, we were way too ethical and none of their coffers did reach our pockets. In fact, I don't even know if that's ethical. I'd say that's just dumb. We should have paid ourselves, but anyway. That's why cults are money pits, because people money becomes secondary to relationships. They just want to pay to be with their friends all the time. They want to pay to please the leaders. They want to pay to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And then the final lesson is whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Now, Friedrich Nietzsche famously said, whatever doesn't kill me makes me stronger. And I couldn't agree more. Hey.
How are you?
I'm good.
You're making a video, I'm sorry.
How are you? Apagaban. Yes, no, it's okay. See you. Just saw 2 of just saw 2 of my friends. Friedrich Nietzsche famously said, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Whatever doesn't kill me makes me stronger. And this is really what happened with our project is when we got robbed the 90K, the true believers actually became even stronger. Like the community consolidated even stronger. Like it was like an attack that consolidated the tribe, and then we actually came out stronger, or at least the commitment became stronger. And from a personal perspective, like when I reached personal crisis, I've just lost, we've just been robbed. We've worked for 5 months, sleep deprived, getting a little bit ill, like not well, and the money's been taken straight from underneath us. Rug's been pulled straight from underneath our legs. Like I reached a bit of a personal crisis. All these lessons I'm sharing with you now, like this was my personal crisis. And I realized it actually made me so much more confident as a result, because I realized that, okay, I've just been a part of something. I just drove $240,000 in sales. That was my role. It was like driving the sales. So I was like, I've just driven that. I've also just gone through something crazy that not many people can say they've ever gone through. And now I'm like applying all these lessons now to my life, and I'm like, okay, I've never been more confident. And that actually hitting rock bottom after that, and realizing all these lessons after that betrayal has taught me so much. It's taught me so much. So I'm more confident than ever. So it's like having a vaccine, although I completely boycotted the vaccine myself. It's like an inoculation. You know, one small attack, you know, your body turns around, doesn't kill you. Whatever attacks you, you turn on it, you destroy it. Whatever the problem is, you destroy it, and then you're actually stronger as a result. So yeah, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger, definitely. Look, that's the end of today. I was going to try and get the video down to 10 minutes. No way. There was way too much to tell there. The story was too crazy. But those are the 8 lessons. I'll just quickly recap them. So, most people are dishonest. Just how it is. Traitors always start out as friends. Whoever holds the purse strings is the master, holds the power. Creativity can make you rich. Naivety will get you killed. One starving crowd can feed you for life. Cults are money pits until they're not. And whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. That's it. 8 lessons from being robbed $90,000 and making $240K 3 weeks later. Like I said, I really wanted to focus on what I learned from being robbed today rather than what I learned from actually making the money, although there was a few, I guess, money-making nuggets in there, hopefully. But yeah, I hope that gives you some insight, gives you some knowledge. Don't have anything to sell you today, but if you want to jump on my newsletter, click the link down below. I think you're really going to want to get on that. I share lessons, stories, advice on sales, marketing, copywriting, and just generally creating value in the world so that you can get paid for sharing your ideas, really. So definitely check that out. I encourage you. I think joining that, you're going to make a lot more money by being a part of that newsletter. I send an email every day and then a big one once a week. So yeah, jump on that, links down below, and I will see you in the next video.